Welcome to the ReEvolve Media Revolution podcast. I am your host, Jordan Lewis. A dope interview with Canadian hip-hop artist Soulful lies just ahead. But before we get into it, I just wanted to talk about and draw attention to the concept of life's defining moments. As a youth, I was very convinced that I had reached maturity ahead of my time. Now, as an adult, I realized that I've changed dramatically even within the last couple of days. I couldn't fathom what is to come that will shape the person I am going to be. I suppose, in a sense, life has become less linear. It's still a journey with a beginning and an alleged finality, but it is a journey comprised of multiple stories with many beginnings and a variety of endings, some overlapping, some containing familiar mistakes, while others cautioned by a lesson of those errors. At times, I feel like a passenger on a wild ride that is the consciousness of Jordan Lewis. Not in a detached sense, but in a sense that I get to view things before they happen, as they happen, and also afterwards. I am not just subject to my reality, and the way I experience it is more complex than any mentor has previously given clue to. We say hindsight is 2020, and it makes sense that we don't have a proper reference for vision of the present or future because this is knowledge that we as a species are on the cusp of understanding. As I started this spiel, the largest obstacle I had to overcome was to realize that I don't know everything. I'm not even close. To put it another way, yes, I know that working out will extend my life and increase my strength, but do I know that Jordan Lewis can work out daily? Would a guarantee of the latter be a form of foresight? I mean, the same thing goes for any habit or skill that's practiced repeatedly. With consistency, the result is pretty much guaranteed. But do you have the foresight? Again, my largest obstacle was believing I had reached maturity or at any point thinking that my life had peaked. I no longer visualize a limit to what my soul is capable of, and the thought of doing that is far from anyone I will ever be. I am excited for what is to come, and I hope you are too. And here's Soulful. What is up, everybody? I am here with Ali. He goes by Soulful. He is out of Ottawa. Ali, Soulful, brother, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me, Jordan.
Yeah, you're out of Ottawa, the capital of Canada, and we know what is currently happening in our neighbor's capital.
Yeah, it's
Coincidentally
ironic.
today.
Yeah, it's ironic that it's today. You're right.
Right,
Yeah.
dude? Isn't that's a little bit trippy? And I think you might be the first artist that I have that's out of our beautiful capital there.
No way. Well, I'm glad to be the first. Hopefully, it's not the last.
But yeah, drawing to that, it is a weird coincidence, and it is ironic, and we get to launch the conversation, kind of talking about it. It's a little weird about the incredible potential chaos today may hold for the States. And through your music, I've come to know you as a man not afraid to address issues or demons. Like, should we kick off the chat with that? Bear in mind that this episode will be released a few weeks after the fact.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's do it. Yeah.
All right, dude. I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous for what happened weeks ago. I'm nervous for the people. I don't think anybody wants what the potential of today has, but you know what the potential there is also for is absolute peace.
Yeah, and that's what we have our fingers crossed and we're hoping for. I mean, social media's done a great job publicizing what could potentially go wrong here, but so far so good from what I've seen on the news. And hopefully we're looking at this, and those who are listening are looking back from to 2 weeks ago and just saying, "Hey, it's just something that passed. It wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be."
For sure, and then we're just can finally get over it and just be healed from it and not see anything similar anytime soon.
Yeah, healing. That's the key word right now.
That's the
2021
key
is
word,
filled
brother.
with healing.
And that's what I'm praying is happening today, man, is just a whole bunch of healing and a whole bunch of sorries, thank yous, and just like moving on. Because that's what we all just need to fucking do.
Yeah, man. I mean, the past 4 years have been crazy, but 2020 specifically is probably the most difficult year for most humans in human history. So yeah, just sort of regaining positivity, regaining a positive outlook on the future, and just sticking together more. You know what I mean? We're stuck at home and we're forced to be by ourselves, but now more than ever, we need to stick together.
For real, man. I agree. I couldn't agree more. Well, let's go into some of your content here and draw some attention to your music as well. From what I've heard, it started with the poems. Let's take it back to that, bro. Where did you start with the poems? Is this like a personal hobby? Was this inspired in school?
So yeah, that's a great way to start. So as a kid, I always enjoyed writing, whether it was poetry or rap. basically it was bars without a beat. Generally speaking, I just have a flow in my head and I just
Did you
write to
think of
it.
it that way back then, or is that what you've come to think of it? Because that's
To me,
brilliant.
you know what? Honestly, it was poetry was always a corny term to me, and I grew up listening to
I
rap a
agree.
lot.
Yeah,
When people say, "Oh, you wrote a poem," it's kind of soft. People think you're soft, or
right.
it doesn't have that
When you say you're a
the
poet?
realness. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't have that same oomph that, for example, a rapper, musician, or artist has. But over time, I decided to go for it and accept it that I'm going to be a spoken word artist and a poet. I saw a gap in the industry where there wasn't really much of that.
I agree. I agree.
Happening. So I decided to dive in and use my
Roughly
rap.
when was that? Was
That
that in
was
2019 when you started, releasing these tracks? The first track I can tie you to is called "Ties." Is that
yeah,
is that your first release as
yeah.
we're
So
speaking here? Yeah?
yeah, exactly. So that was early 2019. That's when I
Dope.
first sort of started dropping content as the Soulful Poet, as I was formerly named, and yeah, that's when my sort of poetry journey started up. I started participating in poetry slams. Made it to the city finals with the Urban Legends Poetry Collective.
Ooh.
So
How'd you
so I
get into poetry
really
slams? Is this through school or your own endeavors?
So I went to one with a friend. A friend introduced me to one when I was in
Oh,
high
dope.
school, and I
Yeah,
thought it was really cool. But I also thought it was a little. It wasn't the most. I was a little bit out of my comfort zone, given the fact that I was more into rap than poetry. So
I see what you
sometimes
mean.
the poets would the slam poets would say a line and then say another one. I'd be like, yeah, that didn't rhyme. It didn't sound catchy. It didn't really grab my ear. But then as I studied more and more on the style, I realized that it's not a necessity. So
Yeah, they're allowed to be more abstract.
yeah, exactly. So by studying the different styles, I found sort of my own, and I always remembered the Urban Legends Poetry Slam, and there was a brother, Apollo the Child, really dope spoken word artist based in Ottawa, who I met up with and spoke with, and he sort of gave me my first push into going for it and trying it out. So and he was running Urban Legends at the time as well, so
No way.
connected with him, participated in the slams, and then it was good practice for me as a performer, as well as a writer, because they did it every week.
That's amazing, man. And when you say you studied the different styles, what do you mean by that?
To be honest, I'd spend hours and hours on YouTube looking at video after video. I'd study poets like Rudy Francisco or Mustafa Effortless, Mustafa the Poet, even like those rappers that tend to be more poetic, the Wale's, the Brother Ali's, even the Lupe Fiascos, even that Def Jam poetry series, that old school series that was going on in the early 2000s, late 90s, where they did poetry slams, and Kanye West even featured on it at one point. So just learning those different styles and always connecting it to what I felt was home for me and what I felt was my sound and my content.
That's amazing, man. And so this is all happening around 2017, 2018 then?
It was a build up. 2018 was a really tough year for me personally, going through a lot of personal stuff with my family. So I sort of put Soulful and the Soulful Poet and art to the side. But 2019 was where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. This is it. Like this is my year of transition. So as I went, I continued to write every day, and until this day, I still try to write at least a verse or a song a day, that I could use moving forward, just to sharpen my skills up every day. And yeah, so just working on my craft as I released. I didn't want to be the artist that showed up and pretended like he knew everything from the start and had
Yeah,
everything going
yeah.
from the jump. I wanted to
So you
show
didn't
people
have
my
anything to
progression.
learn, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. And I think moving forward, even now as Soulful, as a more musical artist, I still have a lot of room to grow, and I'm really excited to be able to show my fans, my soul fam, the progress that I'm doing.
That's amazing, man. I love the way you put it. And then in 2019, with that release, I love that you said about or talked about your family stuff as well, because Ties is your first release. Ties is about family being the most important, and
Yeah,
it's
God and family over everything.
God and family over everything, man. You know what's a trip though, bro? Usually when I'm about to interview an artist, or always when I'm about to interview an artist, I listen to their music.
Yeah.
I heard Ties for the first time, and it's completely unrelated, purely coincidental. I told you about the delay. Actually, we had multiple delays, but I told you about the delay yesterday that my dad was
Yeah.
calling me, and he had to take another call, and then I had to talk to him again. It was kind of the first time in my life that me and my dad had spoken kind of really offbeat. We were just talking about like just something we've never talked about before, and actually had like a conversation for like the first time in like ever. And
That's
it was
real,
after
man.
I listened to that track Ties, and I was like, I just had to like sit and appreciate the synchronicity, or like that trippiness of it all. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful, and that's a beautiful part of art, and that's genuinely what soulful is to me. I just want to be able to connect with people and make them feel things that are raw and real. A lot of times we live in a world where we gotta hide our emotions or pretend like they don't exist, or sometimes we don't even have time to feel the things we want to feel, or the things that we have to feel. So that's what soulful. That's where soulful comes in, and sets you free by letting you feel things.
I agree, man, and I gotta say, your music is very, very your name, your theme, your title, dude. It's very
I'm
soulful
I'm glad,
in
man.
such a unique way, bro. In such a unique way, it definitely hit me, and that was only the first time. And then we got your next release, sorry, still to with Ties, and I'm assuming that those hard times in 2018 were patched up, or at least you were able to overcome them in 2019. And this track Ties is kind of like a symphony to that.
Most definitely. It was that one release that I just needed to, let myself go with, and then so I can now focus on what's ahead. But I had to leave that there 100% so I can move forward.
Amazing, man, amazing. And then you've got your next track, Rise Up to It, which is like I just think this is amazing track in itself. One of the title themes is that or at least what I've taken from it and what I won't do anymore is fall in love in a sense.
Yeah, the concept of falling in love was really ambiguous to say the least.
I
And
think you put it amazingly, man. I can't believe I never thought of it or framed it in that way before.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, it's something I struggle with in my personal life, relationships in general. And it doesn't matter whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship or even a family relationship. It's always going to be work from the ground up. You're never just going to fall and land in someone's arms. I mean, of course, there are emotions involved, and I think that's where the falling in love component comes in. But that lasts only for what? How long? Weeks, months, maybe.
Yeah.
But definitely like years if you're really trying hard enough. But at the end of the day, you really have to build a foundation, and the foundation's from the ground, not in the sky.
Exactly, man. You draw so much attention as well to like the vulnerabilities and the that responsibility that you put on the other person to expect to catch you, or things like that. And it's just it's an amazing way to think about it that way. Is that it's not like it's a real trip, bro.
Thank you, thank you. I'm glad you took that away from me because that's exactly what I wanted people to take away from it.
Yeah, man. It's beautiful. I think more people need to think that way as well, because falling in love is dangerous. Rising up to it is it's important.
Of course, and it's more sustainable. That's something I've learned as I've grown up. You know what I mean? Like rushing into anything is the quicker you go in is the quick. The what's that saying? The faster they rise, the harder they fall, or the quicker they rise, the harder they fall.
Is that what it is?
I think something
What
like
comes
that.
up
Yeah,
always most what come I don't fucking know, dude. The
yeah,
no, it's the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
yeah. There we go. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. So
Yeah.
the bigger the emotion, the harder you're gonna fall. And
The
then
harder you're gonna fucking hit your face on the ground. That's true, man. That's true. And then
exactly.
you kind of sum it all up in your EP release. This is one of your first projects, Thorns.
Yeah, yeah. It was my first, it was my debut project, spoken word album, Thorns. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Amazing poetry and lyricism. I think everyone has the ability to relate to something like this, and it's those feelings that when you're currently going through them, you just yearn for kind of the understanding you speak through this project,
yeah, and I
with
hope
some Disney
so.
tie-ins in there.
A little bit, yeah, a little here and there. Like I always, the way I saw myself as an artist is like 2019. I was really in my infancy. I feel I was just starting to learn how to walk, and I was
For sure,
taking my
dipping
first
your
steps,
toes
and
in.
exactly, just just get my foot in the water, and
Yeah,
just feeling things out. And that's what Thorns was. It was a mix of me feeling the confidence to take on anyone in the game, but also understanding the vulnerability and the naivety that I carry as well, and the amount I have to learn in order to get to where the highest are.
that's amazing, dude. I love that you kind of just like came out the gates pretty hard here, though. What got you interested, or what got you wanting to put it out in a project like this, or in the way that you did it?
Well, for me, my philosophy is that whenever I enter a different sound or a genre or anything like that, I like to create a project just to show people that I'm serious about it. So that if anyone were to say that, oh, you're not a real poet, or you're this, you're that, I can always tell them, hey, I dropped a full length project, and it actually won Album of the Year through Faces Magazine. So and this was across all genres. Like it wasn't just a
That's
spoken word album of
amazing.
the year. It was
Yeah.
like a album of the year. So yeah, so even when I if I ever switch, if I were to become a rock star, I would want to make a rock album in order to prove to people that I'm really about this. Like I'm committed to this.
I see what you
So
mean.
that was the philosophy behind putting out Thorns as early as I did.
So what would be in a sense like the way I'm trying to think of it is that you're serious about this when you're making this project, you were very serious about it. So I'm sure a lot of time and effort, heart, and of course soul went into it. What does that look like on your end?
Yeah, and I mean, it was a lot of learning. That's what Thorns was for me. From song to song, each one had a different struggle. Each one had a different challenge that I had to overcome, and
Simultaneously, eh?
simultaneously, yeah, honestly. And it was like each track on that presented a different challenge for me, and each one was a story of overcoming that challenge. And people won't know the struggle of making an album and the challenges in making an album, but I hope, but I do believe, I don't just hope, since it's, it's been out for a while, but I do know that people did take it and they cherished it, and that's what makes me feel like it was all worth it. You know what I mean?
Oh, brother, I cherished it as well, man. I cherished it
I'm
as
glad.
well. Yeah, trust me. I'm a little bit glad that we had the time to postpone because then I really got to just kind of sit and enjoy it instead of think of it in the sense where like I have to figure out a way to respond to this. You know what I mean?
100%, and I'm glad you've taken it in. And I still have people messaging me saying like, "Yo, this track on Thorns was still something I listen to consistently." And that's what you want as an artist. You want your work to age well, and you want your work to impact people, and you want it to transcend generations. And I'm just glad my first project was able to do that to some extent.
For sure. And there's a distinct difference though between music like that and I want to say what's kind of hitting the mainstream lately in a sense.
Absolutely, and it's unfortunate, man. I mean,
I
it's
wanna
it's a
relate it to sorry to interrupt.
no.
Go
Go
for
ahead.
it. I said I was gonna if I'm totally off the beaten path here, let me know, but I wanted to relate it kinda to the video game industry, where it's not really
Yeah,
people are answering the developers are answering to shareholders, they're not answering to the community,
100%. No one,
or
no
they're
one
not
cares
even
about the
answering to their
consumer
own
anymore.
self. Yeah, no one
Well,
cares about the consumer, no one cares about the actual product, it's all about the coin at the end.
exactly, exactly. It's become a very lather, rinse, repeat industry. I think you can say that for both. It's whatever sells is whatever's going to stick. And in the music industry specifically, I can say that the substance era of hip hop is died, but I'm hoping in recent times, it's going to be resurrected very soon. It's difficult, but the big thing that I feel is missing is that artists back then, I felt like artists made music for you. Like they made content and
I
they set this
agree.
bar for you. You felt as though they were literally handing it to you and giving it to you because they care. You know what I'm saying? Like there was just that
Yeah.
feeling of genuineness and rawness. You look at artists from Nas to Eminem to Jay Z, even to more recently the Lupe Fiascos, the list goes on. Even 50 Cent to an extent. All these artists that I grew up on, they all had this ability to make you feel as though their music was a gift to you. And when you have their music, you naturally want to cherish it because you know its value. Nowadays, music is as relevant as 15 seconds of it. As long as you make 15 seconds that sound good, it'll go on a TikTok dance and it'll go viral, which is
Yeah,
unfortunate.
that's true.
And I do go against the tide with Thorns, and till this day I still feel as though I do go against the tide, but at the same time I do see the aspect of entertainment, and I feel like that's why Thorns had 6 videos for all 6 tracks.
Yeah.
So I tried to encompass all aspects as much as I could while being myself.
Man, and the entire project, like through and through, dude. The like watery eyes, absolutely. I gotta admit it, it had me in tears. And don't get me started on the music video, bro. Like how you make how you make the viewer both the protagonist and the antagonist. It's amazing. Let's talk about the process in making the videos. Actually, for all of them, we'll start with watery eyes though, just because we don't have time necessarily for all of them.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. So I directed all the videos on Thorns. Shout out to
Beauty.
Ben Telford for filming them. But yeah, all the concepts were my ideas, and just like I was saying with the music industry not being something, not feeling as though the artists are giving anything to the fans. I wanted people to feel like they were in the music video as viewers. They were seeing what was happening, and they were almost that bystander that wasn't doing anything about what was happening. And obviously, it was about domestic abuse and domestic violence and trying to end that. And toxic masculinity. So I just wanted to show the reality of it. I didn't want to hide it. I knew to some people it might be explicit, seeing the how raw the music video was, but I felt like it was very
Yeah.
needed in order to
Some
really hit the
people
nail on the head.
some people refuse to take that mask off.
Exactly, 100%, absolutely.
Yeah, man, it's a scary thing though, and it's very very vulnerable. Let's put it that way as well, and that's what I think Thorns is supposed to be. Like you put it, I think you themed it perfectly, man.
Thank you, thank you. I'm glad, and I'm just glad my fans also felt the same way.
It's a beautiful project, bro. Thank you for it. We're at that 20-minute mark, so we're just gonna take a quick break here, if that's all right.
Most definitely.
Perfect. All right. We're gonna listen to a track by Soulful. This one is titled "On My Way." Enjoy.
Soulful. I promise I'm on my way. 24 ain't been enough in a day. Gotta get this off my chest. Listen. I'm tired of playing tag with all my demons. How many times do I gotta chase them to defeat them? I held my own thoughts inside way too long. It don't work like wine, cause I ain't getting fine. I'm just trying to stay strong when these thoughts come in my mind at the worst times. Work times, hitting me and making me feel like it's the first time. I'm telling white lies just to get by. I promise that I'm on my way. I promise that I'm on my way. I just got so much on my plate. 24 ain't been enough in a day. I promise that I'm on my way. I promise that I'm on my way. I just got so much on my plate. 24 ain't been enough in a day. Combating the silent battles that make me feel alive. Never backing down head first, I ain't thinking twice. First child, immigrant child, refugee child, drowning in the pain, but all you getting is a smile. شوف الألم بابتساماتي, ripped up denim, thrifted Armani, worn out belts that be a few sizes too big. But mama took the drill to make them baggy jeans fit. Now we fitted, clothes fitted, putting on clothes that got memories within them. A notebook full of poems that tell stories about times I had to live in. Every day I'm told that I am different. I embrace it, not your average Arab, I ain't racist. If not this generation, then the one before us. I'm tired of denying, man, I hate it so much. I'm trying to build a culture, I got y'all trust. That I'm on my way. I promise that I'm on my way. I just got so much on my plate. 24 ain't been enough in a day. Promise that I'm on my way. I promise that I'm on my way. I just got so much on my plate. 24 ain't been enough in a day. Don't bring up the past with me, I hate looking back. I know I done wrong, but my intentions never bad. I just wanna see you grow, and I just get so passionate and hate it when you lose hope. I just wanna tell it like it is sometimes. No matter how tough life feels at the time, never let that moment put a stain on your mind. Getting knocked down, pick it up every time. Pick it up every time. I said pick it up every time. Pick up all the pieces, pick them all up. Don't leave them, you gon' need them when it's crunch time. One time, one moment you receive in your lifetime. 4 down and inches away from the limelight. 2 seconds left in the 4th quarter. It's our time, it's our time. Now we on our way. I promise that I'm on my way. I promise that I'm on my way. I just got so much on my plate. 24 ain't been enough in a day. Promise that I'm on my way. I promise that I'm on my way. I just got so much on my plate. 24 ain't been enough in a day.
All right, I am back with Soulful. Soulful, how you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling great. This has been fun.
This has been real fun, man. I'm so happy to talk to you. Let's move on. We were talking about your project Thorns before. We'll move on to a later 2019 track that you released, We Can See. And I feel like I just want to address this track because I feel like this music like this is vital in today's economy, especially.
Most definitely.
You say it in the track itself, man. It's not said enough.
100%. And We Can See is a culmination of everything that was going on in the world at the time, and to an extent what's still going on in the world. And I thought to myself as an artist, okay, you've dropped Thorns, you've spoken about who you are. Now let's speak about your people. Let's talk about who you care about. Let's talk about what you are passionate about. And that's what We Can See is. It was the first time I sort of stepped out of my comfort zone and talked about something that was greater than myself. And that's when I felt probably the most empowered as an artist. And that's the one song I think really pushed and was a catalyst for me being able to speak out in my future songs.
I agree, man. I think it's dope. It's something that I think a lot of artists need to focus their attention towards, especially in terms of having something to say and being passionate about saying it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And
Like the mission, like it's like a mission from God, essentially.
exactly. And there's always that saying, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall. If you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything,
Well, for
right?
anything, yeah, exactly, exactly.
And I just wanted to be able to provide my voice and use my voice as an inspiration and a motivation for my people to be able to, and when I say my people, I mean anybody who cares or anybody
Yeah,
that's woke and wants
word.
to relate or is able to. There's no particular denomination that I'm targeting, but anyone that seeks justice is able to relate to what I'm saying. So that's always my goal.
I love it, man. And it's the truth, man. We can see it. We can see it all.
100%.
What do you think is the main thing that's stopping kind of action on it? Or do you think there is a level of inaction that's going on in the world?
Most definitely. I think there's a lot of, I mean, politics is a blessing and a poison, I like to call it. You know what I mean? We need leaders,
Yeah,
but
good way
it's
to put
who's in
it.
charge. You know what I mean? So
It's
there's a
because
lot of
it's a
politics
business.
involved. And of course, the money, the dollar is what
The
everyone's chasing.
dollar. Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of prejudice and misinformation that hurts a lot of people. You know what I mean? There's a lot of inexplicable acts that have happened in 2020 and have happened even before 2020 and will happen after 2021 that have happened that are just inexplicable and are just down to people being uneducated and misinformed and ignorant. And
And
we
that
can see is basically, sorry to cut you off there, but yeah, we can see
no,
is
that's
simply
cool.
is me saying, listen, I can see it, and don't think that just because I'm an artist or just because I'm a rapper, I don't see what's going on. And my goal was to inspire other rappers to do the same.
So, oh man, that's amazing. So in a sense, we're talking both not only stuff that's outside of our borders, but in our own home.
Absolutely, like Soulful is all about looking within yourself and looking at your neighbors at the same time.
That's amazing, dude. I love that we have a chance to talk about it like this as well. All right, and then
Most definitely, yeah, yeah.
coming into 2020 here, unless there's a track in 2019 you want to refer to.
I think you capped it off. We capped it off really nicely. From
Yeah,
ties to thorns to we can see
beauty,
we're
beauty.
capturing the transition really beautifully.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to address here as well. 2020 with your first release. It's a almost a hard transition here. Well, actually, no, not a hard transition because there is that from Thorns where you're more kind of poetic and you can tell the poetry is there. Where the to Trouble Child or Runaway, where you have those rapper lyrics and you're
Yeah,
getting more into your rapper shoes. 2020, you go into kind of more like a for the fans mode or maybe like a mainstream appeal.
yeah, 100%. And one big criticism I heard from my team and people close to me that they provided for me was that yes, what I provided people in 2019 was beneficial, it was impactful, and it had substance. Now it's all about cultivating that and captivating an audience with that with what I have. So I have the ability to inform, I have the ability to put my ideas together well. Now, how can we get people to listen to what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's one thing to be able to say it. It's another thing to encourage people or to get people to listen.
To want to
So
hear it. Yeah, for sure.
exactly. So that was the big
It's
goal
crazy
at the
because
beginning of
that's
2020.
kind of exactly what I told you what we're trying to do with the podcast moving forward, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Hand in hand.
Yeah, that's a trip, bro. Because that's exactly what we're trying to do. Is we're not trying to lose our roots. We're not trying to. We still obviously have our roots, and we're still relating to everything that we've done so far. But we're trying to expand and be broader while still appealing to our core audience.
Exactly, exactly. And a lot of people, though I got a lot of heads turned. You know what I mean? People that thought I was a certain type of artist realized that I'm not that type of artist. I'm more versatile. I have a lot more in the tank. You know what I mean? I have a lot more to share.
Yeah,
So when I dropped Yummy in the beginning of the year, and then Islands, I believe, was the subsequent song, and then moving forward to Live from the Basement, it was just me really showing my full arsenal of skills. I used poetry, I used rap, I used singing, I used all that I had just to show people that I'm not a one-dimensional artist, you know what I mean?
and I think you did it all well, man. I
I'm
don't know if you
I'm
said
glad.
Nasib in your list of tracks there as well.
No, that's right. Valentine's Day, the Valentine's Day song, yeah, featuring
Yeah,
Kareem. Kareem's an
yeah,
incredible
super
singer
dope.
songwriter from Ottawa, super dope artist, and we linked up. And he was someone that I consulted with a lot too because he was. We come from a very similar background, and he's very much driven on that music and his style, and he's still growing as an artist as well. So our journeys as growing as artists and finding our identity has been almost synchronous, and it's been a big help having someone who goes through the ups and downs with you. You know what I mean?
Interesting. So not only is it a goal to diversify and find a larger audience, but it's also a way to diversify and find out, dip your feet in different waters and see where you want where you want to see your final style, essentially.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I continue to evolve, and I'm still, I've yet to go from what is it, Charmander to Charmalon. There we go. I've yet to go from Pikachu to
Charmeleon,
Raichu,
Charmeleon. Yeah.
Charmeleon. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel you on that, bro, because you never know how, and honestly, success could be tomorrow. Success could be a week ago. Success could be right now, depending on where your mindset's at. But you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Life could change in a minute. Life could change in a year. It's such a trip to think about.
100%, and that's why we continue moving forward as artists. You know what I mean? You never know if your next song might be the song, right? And not that we're chasing the song, we're chasing something that transcends generations. We want our whole discography to be the song. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. Or at least have some respect paid to it.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what we're working towards. That's what we're working for. If I can leave my fingerprint in society and have my work be something that, people listen to for generations on end, I've done my job.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. That's amazing. And one thing I want to draw attention to it's completely in regards to this is your most recent release, January 15th, which is 5 days ago from this recording, but
That's
My
right.
Way. One of the things that you mention in it is that you're tired of playing tag with your own demons. And I feel like it's just such a beautiful way to put something I can personally relate to, but what we're talking about through your journey here and going kind of back and forth through this like person that you want to be, but then also you know what I mean? The dance between like the artist or who
Yeah.
Soulful is and then who you, Ali, are in your personal life as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm glad I was able to have the song ready for the beginning of the year as my first song release of 2021. The verses are genuinely me just verse 1 was me talking about my struggles being an artist, my being myself as Ali, and being soulful at the same time, and the year and a half that I spent learning my craft. It was a lot, playing tag with all my demons is genuinely how I felt a lot of the time. And then the second verse was about me fighting and rising up above it. And then that last verse was just talking to the younger me. You know what I mean? The younger me. I say, don't bring up the past with me because I hate looking back. I know I've done wrong, but my intentions were never bad. And that's to anybody who felt as though I've wronged them or felt as though Soulful let them down. And don't necessarily want to vibe with Soulful. Just know that I'm me, and you can still vibe with me. I'm still the same Ali. It's just my sound is a little different.
Interesting. So is this like a realization for yourself as well at this point?
The
It almost seems as
realization
though
was, yeah, the realization was gradual through 2020. Especially after my transition into different styles of music and different styles of sound occurred. There was a lot of people who backed away from their or sort of revoked their support in what I do. So
interesting. Based on
so
like a specific track or just because of the approach you're taking?
just because of the approach for the main part, they thought I was somebody that I wasn't. They thought I was somebody that I wasn't. And
Interesting.
2020 was proven that I could do something different and still be myself. And then 2021, me now being mature and going through a year of that, is just me sending my final message to that and looking forward to what's ahead. I'm on my way.
Bro, but how'd that feel in the moment?
Oh, incredibly freeing. That song.
The
That song was written
I mean,
so fast.
the people kinda ducking out, sorry.
Oh, that yeah, yeah. That was tough. It was probably my toughest moment as an artist. I could tell you like I could tell you a little story real quick. I used to record at a certain location where it was sort of like a youth group community type thing, and they'd meet up on like weekends and just chill, talk about certain topics and stuff like that. And they supported me as a poet. But because I started rapping, they took a different lens. They thought that hip
No
hop
way.
was related to violence or the wrong things or the wrong people, the wrong topics, and without fully understanding who I was and what my vision was. So losing their support was big because I spent a lot of time recording in that space, and I felt a bit of an attachment to it. But yeah, like all of a sudden, management decided, you know what, like you're not allowed being here. So that
That's
was
serious.
yeah, so that was a little slap in the face for me, and that was beginning of 2020.
And dude, here I was thinking it was just like friends who are or not even friends, just like fans or something, but this is actually like deeply related to the career.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah.
That's
And
crazy.
it's tough because it's I'm very attached to Soulful. I'm very attached to my artist side. And if someone hurts my artist side, I almost take it personally naturally. I just naturally take it personally, and it's been tough to rekindle those relationships. But on my way is me saying, like, you know what, those relationships happened. We don't need to bring up the past. My intentions were never bad, and we can continue moving forward. We've already been through a tough year. No need to make it any tougher for 2021. We're all on our way.
That's exactly it, bro. Like, can I make the assumption that Islands was one of the tracks you wrote while like thinking about these occurrences?
Most definitely, absolutely. That was probably the angriest soulful
Yeah,
people are gonna
is
have heard yet. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was dope, man, because even though it is the angry soulful, it's you make the emotion show through the music as though it is the music that's got the emotion and not necessarily, you know what I mean? Or
Absolutely.
yeah,
Uh,
maybe I'm saying it in a weird way, but
no, I always try to make sure how I feel is in line with everything else. Like if there was an upbeat song, there's no need to sing sad lyrics. You know what I mean?
for
So I try
sure.
to make it very synchronous and in line, and being able to feel as though make people feel as though I'm spilling my heart out here. Like you have no choice but to listen.
Yeah, and even like in your lighthearted lines, or even not even like light lines that aren't directly like dark or anything. Well, I'll draw one out. You say, giving these aunties a new thing to talk about."
Yeah, yeah.
That's
It's a fact.
hilarious, bro. It's a
It's
fact,
a
yeah.
real thing. Yeah.
I don't doubt it, man. And trust me, I come from the same kind of line where you get talked about for slightly grazing the boundaries of expectations, and then as an artist, that's just not something you can't be an auntie pleaser.
But exactly, you can't be an auntie pleaser. I like that. Yes, that's gonna be my new thing. Don't be an auntie pleaser. I'm
Don't
gonna
be an
make a
auntie
hoodie
pleaser.
and
It's
call it auntie
hopeless.
pleaser.
Or do the contrary, man. Be just put auntie pleaser on it.
Yeah,
That's what a lot
just
of people are doing these days, right?
reverse psychology. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's hilarious, bro. Honestly, man, I love that because through these discoveries and through these tracks released in early 2020 and then coming through, I want to say, so is Live from the Basement kind of you establishing yourself into the sound that you want to pursue, or is this kind of another attempt at a specific sound that you're just dipping your feet in the waters? Because it seems like it's a polished project, bro. You got 11 tracks produced with Quest here.
Yeah, shout out to Papa Quest, incredible producer, and he did a great
Amazing,
job with the
dude.
mixing, engineering, and all that. Live from the basement. Short answer is no. It's not. I don't think it's the sound, my permanent sound. That's not the soulful you're always gonna get. And
Is it
to be
close?
honest with you, to be honest with you, man, like Jordan asking me, like I'll tell you, I think I'll tell you that for every project I make. Every project I make, I'll tell you, is this the soulful we're gonna get? I'm gonna be like, nope, that's not the
Nope.
sound I'm going for.
There
And
you
it's always, and
go.
it's almost like it's always, I feel like it's always gonna be like that because I'm always gonna evolve and try something new. But regardless of what sound it is, it's always gonna be soulful. You know what I mean?
For sure. I
So
man, for
yeah,
me, honestly, personally, I feel like that's important. And I don't know why. I feel like it's weird for artists to get stuck in a genre or in something like that because then you do have like I've heard of artists that build up let's even take it to Michael Jordan.
yeah.
You just I don't even it's hard to relate it to something that old, I guess, but you know what I mean? And I can't think of any artists recently who've switched genres. Do people do that?
I mean, you look at someone like Drake, for example. Drake began as a singing rapper, and then he switched up his genre, and then he touched a little bit of that UK drill style. Not to say that he totally changed his sound, but he dabbled in it at the very least.
Yeah.
And then he did a bit of that dance hall music with One Dance, a little bit of Afro beat and More Life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So taking inspiration from him, to be honest, it's just showing that, as an artist you can attract any type of fan base, and as long as you're the brand yourself, as long as I'm soulful, it doesn't matter what I make because people will know it's soulful.
That's the truth, man. And I think and that's the word. Your roots are always gonna be there. Your early content is always gonna have some relation to your new stuff in a sense.
Absolutely, and that's a lesson for any young artist or any artist that's looking to find themselves. As long as you're yourself, people will know that it's you. As long as your work is authentic, people will know it's authentic, regardless of whether you're spitting poetry one day and then you're singing the next day. You know what I mean? It'll always be you, and that's what people like.
And so I want to tie that into that lyric that I drew out before from My Wave of tired of playing tag with your own demons, because I feel like that's where we forget. to just be our natural self, and we're trying to be that people pleaser instead.
100%.
And
And
it's like I forget it all the time, bro. And it's not just like it's a like a broad. I'm trying to please everybody. It's like, oh, I'm trying to please you now. I'm trying to please you now, instead of like just exuding myself.
exactly. I like how you said that because me being the person I am, I like to listen. And whether someone is giving me criticism that I'm never going to use or criticism that's really beneficial, I like to listen regardless. And naturally, I want to be able to provide, and I want to be able to either prove them wrong or prove them right. And that's sort of the line. I'm tired of playing tag with all my demons because when I would hear so much criticism on what I should be, and people thinking though as though they know what's best for me, those become my demons in my thoughts. And like, do I do this? Should I do this? Should I do that? And I sort of lose Soulful for a little bit before regaining my confidence and realizing that me being me is the best option and the only option.
Dope. And so would you say in your musical journey that it's come to this, and it's still in the process of coming to it?
Most definitely. I think my journey is going to be a lifelong one. And I'm excited to take everyone along for the journey. I've told them time and time again, man, this is like I tell my soul fam all the time, this is a journey. Like this is not an end goal. This is not a polished product. This is an experience. And
Yes.
a
It's a
lot of
ride.
times a lot of times we forget, we think things are solid and in place, but I'm choosing to go a fluid route. And with ups and downs and everything, and sharing my journey with a fan base that's given me the world so far, and I can't wait to continue growing it.
Man, I love that. I want to call music something other than a product right now.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
What would be a good word for it? Because that's what I think a lot of artists take the approach as, is this music has to be a polished product, or this music has to be like, it's a product, it's a release, and then I'm done with it. But it's not. It's like because like even us referring to it right now, they're like life milestones essentially. Like they had such meaning at the time.
yeah, I mean,
They're not products. They're almost like children in a sense, but they're not children.
it's like checkpoints or checkmark or bookmarks in a story. You know what I mean?
Bookmarks. Hey, they're highlights.
They're highlights, the highlights of a story of an important
Yes.
part of my life that I want to
Yeah.
address.
Man, and it's so beautiful being able to look back and reflect on those bookmarks and those highlights, in with the depth a song gives, and I get and hoping that other people can relate and also hit those tracks and relate that to their own lives and hit that same depth, you know?
Absolutely, man. Like I can't wait to sit down with my kids and be like, "Yo, your daddy was dropping bangers back in his day," and
Yeah,
just getting to listen
word,
and feel
bro.
inspired. Right? Like that's a dream of mine. And just by doing that, I've transcended a generation. Right?
Exactly,
So
bro. And the goal I guess for your children would be for them to vibe with my way, not at your current age or January 15, 2021. How old are you, bro?
I'm 23.
23. You don't want them to vibe to my way at 23. You want them to understand it at the age of like as soon as they can, right? Because then
As
they'll
soon
be
as they
like
can understand.
light
Yeah.
years ahead. Yeah.
Exactly, man. And
Man,
coming from where I've come from, it's been difficult because an artist in the eyes of the aunties and the uncles is a rebel,
it's
is somebody
tough,
that goes
bro.
against the tide.
Yeah.
And being a first generation immigrant is already hard enough, And being the eldest child, I'm a first child in the family, and I'm the eldest child, so the pressure's even more added on. So
I
the
feel you
fact
on that,
that
bro.
and
We're
that's
the
a
same.
story. Really, that's incredible,
Yeah.
man. And so I guess that story is yet to be told fully. I dabbled in it on Live from the Basement. I'll continue dabbling in it a little bit, but look forward to 2022. That'll
Oh,
be
hell yeah,
a
bro.
very
Let's
monumental
talk a
time.
bit about what's to come then. Yeah. Why not? Just
Yes,
before we finalize off here. Sorry, sign off here.
absolutely. So Soulful is here to stay. Just in case anybody that doesn't want Soulful to
Hell
stay
yeah.
is listening to this, Soulful's here to stay, and I'm currently working on two projects simultaneously. I'm working on a R&B trap soul style project with a few artist collaborations and a lot of different sounds that you've yet to hear me on. And then 2022 will be very special. I think it's going to be that one. It's going to be the year, hopefully, where Soulful goes from, and I want to be able to look back at this and know that I said this.
Yeah.
Back to and 2022 will be the year that Soulful goes from a good artist to a great artist.
You've got a
And I'm
strategy,
excited for
eh?
that. Always, you got to stay calculated, but at the same time, there is such thing as being too calculated, and I like to feel things out as well.
I like that, bro, because a lot of people, and like I said this earlier, is like it could happen tomorrow, but you're like 2022, it's happening.
100%. That's my goal. And unless COVID, what is it? COVID 25 comes out, and then just
some bullshit like that. Yeah, I feel you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
just poops on our parade. Then I think we're still on schedule.
That's word, bro. I love it, and I'm looking forward to it all, man. Is there anything you want to say as a final sign off to anyone that's listening right now?
Yeah, most definitely. I always, at the end of any podcast, I like to leave a little bit of advice or a little bit of insight on anything. Just remember that if people who are stuck in war-torn countries and don't have any resources are able to create art, just know that you can too, regardless of whether you are been given the support or have the support of people close to you or not. Art is an expression. Art is a release of who you are, and your story is worth telling. I don't care where you're from. Your story is worth telling as long as you're authentic, and don't hesitate to share that with the world, because the world wants to hear it too.
Amazing. Thank you, Soulful. I appreciate it, brother.
My pleasure. Jordan, you've been a great host, man. This has been a great podcast. Probably one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done, man. Yeah.
Thank you so much, man. Real. I appreciate it.
This was a great time.
That's so good to hear, brother. That's so good to hear. You take care, though, eh?
Most definitely. You as well. Soulful.
Right, peace. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to learn a little bit more about Soulful and connect on his socials, head to www.reevolvemedia.com/soulful. And we are going to listen to his latest track. This one is titled Passion. I hope you enjoy it, and take care.
Yo, Stevie.
I got the passion. Yeah. Seeing these problems around, I'm taking action. I got the passion. My people been searching for change. I make it happen. I got the passion. I'm tired of sitting around. No catching me lacking. I'm cooking with love in my soul. I got the passion. Seeing these problems around, I'm taking action. I got the passion. My people been searching for change. I make it happen. 'Cause I got the passion. Let's talk about why the Shababa depressed. Let's talk about why we all feeling distressed. My parents don't get it, I'll never confess. Mama, Baba, my life is a mess. Our generation's gotta break up the silence. Moving aggressive, I'm killing with kindness. City to city, I'm counting the mileage. Starting the convo, I'm done being quiet. Way too many trying to find their way. Struggling to get up out of bed every day. On top of all the things that I got on my plate. You could never tell by the smile on my face. Way too many trying to find their way. Struggling to get up out of bed every day. On top of all of the things I got on my plate. You could never tell by the smile. I got the patience. Seeing these problems around, I'm taking action. I got the passion. My people been searching for change. I make it happen. I got the passion. I'm tired of sitting around. No catching me lacking. I'm cooking with love in my soul. I got the passion. Seeing these problems around, I'm taking action. I got the Let's talk about why we afraid to talk. The stigma our parents were raised around. Let's talk about how we gon' make it stop. Breaking the walls, let's take them down. No more, we tired of feeling alone. I'm not the same when I'm outside the home. Since I was young, I've been writing these poems. For all my people, they holding it down. On my knees, I know God is looking down. Yeah, Rabbi, I'm just trying to make my mama Baba proud. Chasing a degree, then go get a 9 to 5. Mohendis or Tabib, I don't think that I'll survive. On my knees, I know God is looking down. Yeah, Rabbi, I'm just trying to make my mama Baba proud. Chasing a degree, then go get a 9 to 5. I'm Mohendis or Tabib, I don't think that I'll survive. Seeing these problems around, I'm taking action. I got the passion. My people been searching for change. I make it happen. I got the passion. I'm tired of sitting around. No catching me lacking. I'm cooking with love in my soul. I got the passion. Seeing these problems around, I'm taking action. I got the passion. My people been searching for change. I make it happen. 'Cause I got the passion.